These words they show comparative structure. That is, it shows the similarities between two things or two people or two places, and both both kada and kada also to neither dash nor dash, similar to, the same, just as hot as, just as big as, just as small as, likewise, and similarly. So these words and phrases they show the use for writing comparisons. So you can see the examples here, so that they might help you to use these phrases and words to for writing comparison or comparative paragraph. So in this activity, use one of these words or phrases so that to complete this sentence here, A, B, or C. Now we go to the second one, which is comparative structure. So these words or phrases are used to when writing for writing contrastive structure or contrast. Have a look at them. But while though adjective bigger than, smaller than, taller than, more expensive than, more or less expensive than, not as good as, different from, in contrast, however, on the other hand. So you need to have a look at these words or phrases we use to write contrastive contrasts, or these we use to write comparisons. You need to look at them, know their meaning, how you can use them in sentences from your own, so that they help you to write compare and contrast paragraph. So again, you have the same activity here. You are going to use these phrase or words so that to complete these sentences from A to D. Similarities and differences. Write 8 sentences about these two cars. What are the similarities and difference between these two cars in terms of the price, in terms of the shape, in terms of the model, in terms of the driver, in terms of the place of their, this made in Germany, this made in Germany. That means there are some similarities and some difference between these two cars. So show the similarities and the differences. Comparison, contrast, organization. Okay, sometime that when we write a compare and contrast paragraph, this is how we organize them. And then the first one is block organization. The first method, there are two methods to write compare and contrast paragraph. Block organization, which is you first write about supporting points for the first topic, then compare and contrast these same points the second topic. You see, for example, topic sentence comparing, contrasting two objects, two topics. You compare A and B. Then you go and speak about the points of comparison, contrast about, you write first about the similarities and differences of A, and then some similarities and differences of B. You do not compare them. You write, if you compare two topics, A and B, Sudan and Egypt, village and Kenya, you write a bit about what is in the village, the similarities, the similar thing we find in the in A, and the similar thing we find, and that contrast things we find about A, and then the comparison and contrast about B, and then finally the conclusion. This is block organization. What is block organization? You write first about, if you compare two topics, the first paragraph you compare the two topics, and then you write about topic A with the similarities and differences, and topic B with the similarities and differences. Okay, and then you can read this, which shows that the first paragraph is about comparing two topics, and then the second paragraph is you talk about topic A, and then the third paragraph is about topic B, and finally the conclusion. This is called block organization. For the point by point organization, it is the same. You talk about two topics in the first paragraph, and then you compare topic A and topic B in terms of similarities, and then topic A2 and topic B in terms of differences, and then the point of comparison and contrast in A and B, and fourth point of comparison contrast in A and B. fifth point of paragraphs in A and B. So you write the each similarities. They are similar in 1, in 2, 3, and 4. They are different in 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, in point by point, you topic sentence comparing or contrasting to topic A and B. First point of comparison and contrast. Second point of comparison and contrast. Third points of comparison and contrast. Fourth point of comparison and contrast, and fifth point of comparison paragraph and contrast, and finally the concluded. Again, for the point by point comparison, it's not like block comparison, organization, point by point organization. You write about two topics, you compare them, and then you talk about the first point in terms of similarities and differences for A and B. And then the second point in terms of comparison and contrast, similarities or difference in B, A and B. The third point of comparison and contrast, the similarities and differences in A and B. And then the fourth point of comparison and contrast is similarities and differences in A and B. And then the fifth point of comparison, contrast, or similarities and differences in A and B. And then finally the conclusion. Okay, so we have two types of comparison and contrast paragraph, which is either block organization or point by point organization. So when you read this paragraph again, you will see this very clear. It's about the first topic, the two topics, and then the first point in and the first point, the second point. The first point you compare and contrast. The second point you compare A and B and contrast. The third point, the fourth point, and the fifth point, and finally the conclusion. This is be very clear. So you have here, read the two paragraphs above, then answer the questions. Paragraph this is block point by point organization. This is block organization. You read them carefully and then answer these questions. For the block organization, paragraph 1, topic A, reading a book, supporting points, you mention them. Topic B, so what is it, and then what are the supporting points. And then you go to paragraph 2, which is point by point organization. Paragraph 1, the first point of comparison, difficult childhood. What is contrast? Business, Princess Diana, mother left family. The second point of comparison, dish. Number A2, Princess Diana married Prince Carlos, later separated from him. This is point 2, so mention point 2b. Third point of comparison, and then fourth point of comparison, and fifth point of comparison. You mention comparison and then difference, contrast. If you are given the comparison, then you mention the contrast. If you are not given both of them, you mention the comparison and then the contrast. For example, in number 1, you are given the contrast, then the comparison is left. In the second point of comparison, you are given topic A, and then you write topic B. And so the point of comparison, third point of a comparison, you need to mention for A3 and B3. And fourth point of comparison, you need to mention, bad emotional problem. What are the differences in A, and what are the differences in A, differences and similarities in A and B. Fifth point of comparison, you mention the similarities and the differences, and so on. These are two popular sports, golf and tennis, and then you can see the differences. Then make a list of similarities and what are the similarities and difference between golf and tennis. When you read it, you can find them. You write here the similarities and you write here the differences. Okay, this is the end of our class. Thank you very much.